holiday because it's too
No.
hot on the footpath, isn't it?
Yes, indeed.
I just look for any excuse not to walk the dogs, to be honest. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Although, well, yeah, mine gets a little bit annoying being a bit of a pup, but
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, let's crack on. Pretty flat and mixed across most markets yesterday. Looks as though we may have drifted into the summer low already. I don't know what you're thinking on that.
I sort of think so, Joe, but I don't know. I think we'll have. It feels like we're coming up to some significant, real decisions, like from the Fed, I suppose, and really sort of the crypto space. I think is still going to be sort of like quite volatile. Commodities, I think gold, dollar. I think we have got potential for some moves, but you're right. In a lot of markets, it feels like summer markets, but I think there's going to be something very soon which will sort of like reignite the markets, because let's remember, people aren't going to be going away on holiday. So are we going to have that summer lull that we normally have?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to get people taking a break and going home, but they're going to be working from home, and so there's still going to be a lot more interest than there usually is in the summer, I think.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, in terms of news, obviously we talked yesterday about this international tax plan, which was agreed over the weekend, and it looks as though governments are keen to ensure that Amazon is included, despite its profit margins overall not meeting the proposed threshold. So there's a first extra bit of details on the pact itself. So a tough task for President Biden, given that he was looking to make a few changes on that front. But a lot of these tech companies are still actually based in Ireland because they've got pretty good corporate perks than some of the wealthier countries. So these companies will find ways to circumvent that, I would have thought, over time. In terms of big news on the health side of things, there was an approval from a US regulator for an Alzheimer's treatment made in the US by a company called Biogen, and that's a landmark moment for the healthcare sector, a decision which could significantly alter the face of the treatment for the brain condition following years of failure. We've obviously not been able to get that under control at all, it seems, and it's a growing concern. But that is pretty good news. So hopefully we'll be on a sort of curve to getting some fixes on that, because it's certainly not nice, is it?
No. Yeah, I mean it'll be definitely groundbreaking. So we're seeing some great advances in the medical field. Obviously, we've seen it with the virus, and we've seen it with other things as well.
Yeah, definitely. Other than that, it's pretty boring on the news front, to be totally honest, which is why I wonder whether or not we are seeing markets slip into this sort of summer doldrums where things chop sideways a little bit. Certainly not much going on the FX front. I did notice that, Steve, you had a pretty interesting chart up on the screen prior to us beginning today, so maybe you've got some bits to talk about, and I will throw it over to you to get stuck into some charts this morning.
Yeah, I've done some video analysis on Bitcoin this morning. I normally do that on a Tuesday, and yeah, really sort of interesting move over the past 12 hours, really. This is the 4-hour chart. Let's just nip it back to obviously I've sort of built a head and shoulders in here on the long-term chart and the weekly chart, but this head and shoulders I'm pretty sure won't play out because the measured move is a negative number. So but the real significant levels to watch are really important, and we've seen this. We haven't really seen a right shoulder of sorts. It's sort of down here. It could be this could be the right shoulder. I'm not saying it's not, but the measured move target obviously is from the head to the neckline, and that takes us to about negative 4,000. I don't know how. Maybe sort of like the governments are going to put a tax on Bitcoin. That would take it to zero and then negative 4,000. I don't know. I was having a decent chat with Cameron this morning about how the real sort of important thing for the cryptocurrencies is for it to be fully adopted by everyone. To be successful. I think otherwise it just sort of like plays a role, but nothing of significance. I think there will be a currency in the future, but will it be centralized? It feels like it. So the 4-hour chart. Well, I'll go to the 4-hour chart because this is where the real levels I've popped in Really, the resistance, this should be red. So there's a resistance band up here, but we've obviously been drawing this triangle formation, and we thought it had broken last week and it was a false break, and we saw it come back down, but now it looks quite a significant break to the downside. We've taken out this this low of the 30th of May and moved below that. So the real support level comes in at this swing low from the 19th of May. That's 30,000 on the dot. Now, if we break 30,000, it's a scary Mary time. On some charts that I was analysing, I've seen that there's a chart gap. So there's obviously times where the exchange, certain exchanges or certain platforms actually just have a close down to reconcile everything. There's a chart gap around about 24,000 to 26,000. But yeah, a break of this triangle, and we're moving. I mean, we can sort of we can measure it as well. This could be somewhere around about the low, sort of like 20,000s. So I'm short of this myself anyway. I've been short for about a month or something, and yeah, I'm looking at around about 20,000 as the real significant level. If we remember all the way back to when we made an all-time high and then had a big sell-off all the way back here. It seems like a lifetime ago. 19,360. Then we had the move back to 16,000. Actually, there was one more significant one below that. That was we made this high. I don't know. It's on this chart. Is it on this chart? Doesn't look like it. So we made the high at 20,000. Then we reversed back to 3,000 all that time ago. But this is anyway. We've had the sort of like everyone's woke, and we're all the way up to 65,000. The sell-off looks like an impulsive move now rather than just an ABC correction. The impulsive move means that this wave 3, which is from 60,000 to 30,000, is going to be the longest wave. Again, it has to be the longest wave because we can't go below zero. This is a $30,000 move. Take 30,000 away from 30,000 and you get zero. So I'm not saying it's going to zero. Please don't kill me, everyone. But this is significant, and we are looking towards retesting this 30,000 level. If we don't, and if it stalls and reverses, happy days for all the bulls and the longs out there in the cryptocurrency. Steve O'Hare is wrong again. 39,500 to 40,000 is the first level of resistance. We have resistance around about, as I say, the 43,000 level. But for me, 46,000 is the level that Bitcoin has to recapture for me to be bullish on it. So there's your challenge, Elon. Let's move on to other markets. Gold, pretty interesting what this has done as well. On the weekly chart, we've got this pretty nasty looking hanging man candle at the top of this channel, and significantly the high this week is also touching that top of the downward channel. So if we don't manage to capture levels above the 1915 to 1917 area, then we could be looking at a little bit more of a consolidation in gold, potentially just a sort of like reversal of the move higher. Obviously, we've got support below coming in at 1848 to 1855. Below that, we've got 1830, and then we'll have around about the 1800 to 1810 level of support. So yeah, it looks, we had a bit of a retest, tried to capture the ground above 1900, and it's failed this morning, and looking to reverse quite sharply. This is where I got stopped, obviously, in this gold trade idea from yesterday, and significantly, again, it's only really got up to, if we extended the neckline of the head and shoulders formation, it's retested it a second time, but looks to be rejecting as we speak. Crude oil, still looking pretty punchy above this 67.80 level. The next level of resistance above here, let's get the daily chart up, comes in around about 72.84. But yesterday's candle, a little bit of a shooting star like. So if we do get a sell off today, then that could end up being a shooting star formation, which will be pretty negative, and we should lead to us retesting the previous highs, which were resistance now turned into support, coming in at 66.60 and just below there as well. We've got this extended upward trending support below that, coming in around about the consolidated area around about the $60 level, but still, long way from there at the moment, but looking a little bit negative on the shorter term charts. We can see the hourly chart has broken below the Ichimoku cloud, tried on 2 occasions, 3 occasions, and it's broken through. So that looks slightly bearish. It looks like we're forming some sort of corrective ABC formation. If we do get an extension lower, maybe it's a bit more impulsive. Indices, like I say, it's sort of quiet-ish. We've got a little bit of indecision in the FTSE. This hanging man candle is governing price action at the moment. That was formed last Thursday. Since then, we haven't really done a lot. It's been sideways. DAX has been a little bit more punchy. It's made a new all-time high, coming in at 15,733. So that's nice. Again, we saw the Dow stalling a little bit yesterday, around about the 88.6 or in front of there. And that looks a little bit ominous for the indices on the US side of things. However, NASDAQ sort of did have make a new highs that we haven't seen since the 7th of May. But that is a hanging man candle, and the potential for a shooting star candle today if price action moves lower. If it doesn't, we're sort of like looking at resistance coming in at 13,900. On the S&Ps, we're not far from the all-time highs, 4,245. So just sitting below there, but look to be stalling. It does look like we could have a little bit of a quiet, sort of sustained, pressured move. Unless there is something to reignite the potential for the all-time highs again. I'm not sure really. It doesn't feel like it. There was a move in one of the markets overnight that I think the China Hang Seng both sort of had a bit of a knock. Aussie 200 is holding up nicely, obviously commodity based, so that's got good potential. China 50, as we can see, broke significant support level. I think on the overnight trade ideas we were looking to buy this, we were stopped out on this. However, on the Nikkei, we managed to sell at 29,200, which was nice. Our target is a little bit lower, but that looks like that trend line there has held again. So potential again for an evening doji style formation. So that looks good. That's about it.
Okay, Steve, thank you very much. So FX is just really not much going on at all, I don't think. This is the daily chart on dollar index. So we saw the breakout of this channel, and that was on the 3rd of June. We then saw give some back. We saw a bit of further selling yesterday. We've seen a bit of bullishness today, possibly engulfing yesterday's selling. But all in all, it's sort of in a bit of a choppy phase. We have got some support down here still at 89.61. Maybe what could be occurring here is a potential sort of flag setup where if we do break below this sort of mini consolidation and head lower, then we could just set up a continuation of the move to the downside over the short to medium term. So not really anything that's offering any clarity at the moment, I don't think. But again, it's just a case of waiting and watching. On the flip side of that, we've got euro dollar. That broke out of the channel, as you can see there, with a really nice impulsive move to the downside and a close below the previous support here that was posted at 120, 132. But we've come bouncing back pretty sharply. Bit of weakness today. Again, is this maybe some sort of consolidation or continuation pattern before a break up and a continuation higher? up to maybe these levels up here at 125.55, which are the highs that we saw back here in 2018. So difficult to say. There is still potential for this to be, I think, a top pattern, but it's got an awful lot of work to do. First and foremost, we need to get below this low here that was posted on the 4th of June at 121.04. If we get below that level, then there is some potential for the prospect of this head and shoulders top growing, but at the moment it's all highly speculative and got lots of work to do. So this is what I'm thinking, just to sort of outline that this is potentially a right shoulder. So that may be sort of a little bit more complex potentially. So, again, it's only a potential setup, lots of work to do there. If we look at cable, that continues to do not a lot. It's moving very much sideways. As you can see, there's not really been any significant movement either way in the price here. Yes, the ranges have been quite large in certain days, but nothing really that's going to be easy to trade, that's for sure. So I still think there is potential here for a bit of a correction lower, having stalled at these previous highs. My first target on the downside would be this level here, which is at 139.85, which is an unfilled gap from between the 7th and the 10th of May, and also we've got a nice uptrend line that comes in around about the same sort of level, multiple touch points along that trend line as well. So we can be quite confident that will at least do some sort of job, even if it is only a short-term one. Elsewhere, looking again at some of the dollar markets, because we're all looking for clues on what that's going to do to help drive everything else. This is dollar CAD, and as you can see, it's trading in a massive downtrend channel or wedge potentially. Price action has stalled around about these lows at 120.12. Price action in recent days very choppy. If we can see this level here at 121.44 taken out, then it raises the prospect of a correction to the upside, potentially towards the upper end of the channel, but it would only be a speculative move higher. I think from a risk reward perspective, if you buy a break with a tight stop below the breakout line and target a move up here somewhere, then that probably looks quite nice, but I would only suggest it's going to be a corrective move at most at this stage. Dollar Swiss, not really anything happening there. Dollar Yen continues to be my favorite pair if you do want to speculate on dollar longs, but getting some mixed price action here. We saw a nice impulsive move to the upside on the 3rd of June, but we pretty much engulfed all of that price action the next day with a bearish engulfing candle. We backed that up with further selling yesterday. Bit of a bounce today, which arguably is coming in line with trend support. So maybe the buyers are going to step back in and do something with but volumes are declining as well, as you can see, which isn't a particularly strong sign. If we do get a break below the low that we posted yesterday, or certainly a close below the low that we posted yesterday, then we're probably going to take out this trend line as well, and that would mean that we can potentially give up on this as a bullish prospect for now, and potentially see a bit of a correction down towards support at 108 to 107.76. Anything else? Let's have a look at euro sterling. Not looked at that in a while. Again, really sort of sideways price action. As you can see, we're sort of trading within a bit of a channel, bit of a range maybe. Not an awful lot happening. Some support formed at 86.60, resistance at 86.65. We're kind of mid-range between these two areas here, so not a lot from a risk-reward perspective to try and target. And as you can see, it's a growing theme that the volumes seem to be dropping off on a number of these currencies. So again, maybe further evidence that volumes are on the decline as we head into the summer months in particularly in Europe and obviously North America. So yeah, not sure what to make of it. Still no real clear clues, I don't think. I mean, euro yen is probably one of the strongest at the moment. The trend is pretty fantastic, but even that's starting to show some signs of stalling at the moment. And if I was going to buy it, I'd probably be looking for a dip down to this trend line here around about 132-ish to even consider buying at the moment. So stuff's either looking too kind of frothy, as it is in this instance maybe, or just too range bound and really limited opportunities. So just be careful, I think, if you're trading FX, and maybe just look at other areas of the market, because they seem to be a little bit more interesting. That's it from my side of things.
Nice one, thanks, Joe.
Okay, going to the head trades from yesterday. So this is where we pick our trades there and then live on the video and do our best to try and make a few pips before closing them off at 9 o'clock tonight. Yesterday we had a short trade on dollar CAD, which was looking better than it closed at one point in the day, but still managed to hold on to 16 ticks or a 1 hour win. And Steve was stopped out on gold, so we cancelled each other out yesterday, making no progress overall on our P&L account. So what do you fancy today, Steve? Anything that's caught your eye?
I suppose I've sort of got to stick with the old Bitcoin negativity. That's the sort of like, I mean, ideally not selling it, gun to head and all that. I'd rather not sell it just here. But the gun is to my head and I will do it. And so stop, I'm going to put stop. Stop, getting short here, 33,160, have a 500 point stop and looking to target, well, I think we could look to target a 6-to-1 risk reward, a move down towards the 30,000 level. Let's do that. That's my risk reward, 6-to-1. I'm getting short here. Stop at 33,660.5 and the target 30,160.5. I'm just going to stick with it. Yeah, as I say, I'd rather be selling a little bit higher or waiting for a candle, an hourly candle to be bearish, but gun to head.
Nice. Okay. Having just slated FX as being boring, I'm still going to look at an FX pair. It's Euro Aussie for me today. And the main reason is I'm just looking at sort of really short-term time frames to try and find some reasonable looking technical setups. And I found one here. So we've got a bit of a top form, a bit of rounding price action. We've broken down below this support here. We've pushed down to the downside, but then had a bit of a retest. Over the last couple of hours, I'm quite interested in this candle here, which is posted at 7 a.m. A bit of an outside bearish candle there that's formed on the hourly. So I'm going to try and sell it right now at a price of 157.18. Nice tight stop above this sort of band of resistance that I've drawn on here at 157.40, and I'm going to target a move down to support here that I've got at 156.29. So looking for just a tad over 4R on that setup today. That's it from me. Okay, so day ahead, what have we got? Still pretty light on the old calendar front. Let me just get it up. So we've got German ZEW at 10 o'clock. The index is expected to fall to 75, so keep an eye on euro crosses and obviously euro indices, such as the DAX and CAC potentially. And if we look at the US later today at 1:30, we've got US trade balance. The deficit is expected to narrow to 72.9 billion, so keep an eye on your US dollar crosses come 1:30, as that may have some impact on the market later on today. Yeah, so pretty quiet, really. Anything you've seen, Steve, to end on?
No, I mean, you mentioned the Alzheimer's drug. I haven't really seen a lot else to get excited about. So yeah, just sort of the Bitcoin, obviously, as well. Just a real sort of test of that. Apart from that, be careful out there, I think.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, let's wrap it up there then. Good luck, everybody, if you're trading today, and we will be back tomorrow morning with some more insights.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.